All right. Press day 2. Don't know. I'm said in my first press day, everything's based kind of on how I feel. I don't know how many reps we're going to do. So 135 is a great first warm-up set. And we'll just see how it feels. Little bit of tension in that hurt shoulder, but light enough that I don't think it's going to be a concern. I think we can go straight to 225. Because again, I want to do the minimum amount of warm-ups to be able to perform at peak capacity. Two plates on bench is not that much. Just as long as this little spot here holds up. Yep, let's jump right into it. Pretty nice. Don't know if you can see in the video. Yeah, you can see it. Hold my legs up again. Only trying to put maximum effort into the press portion of the lift. Take away as much of my brace as possible. This is a pretty wide bench, not as much as a fat pad, but so keep the weight lighter on a second press day, but make the lift more difficult. Just like on the squat day, doing a double pause squat, 295 for 5. It's not heavy at all, but when you do that double pause, makes it killer, makes it hard. A little less stress on the joints, the tendons, and everything, but still a lot of work on everything else that needs to improve. I think we will jump up to 275. We'll see how this feels. If I don't like the way it feels, 225 was set 1. If I do like the way it feels, this is set 1. Again, I don't know how many reps I'm going to do. I'm just going to feel it out. Make sure everything feels right. Yeah, we can say that's set 1. That was pretty good. Probably hit that weight one more time, at least, before I decide to jump up again. taking your legs off the floor. Huge difference. Huge difference. So, I won't be able to tell in the video until I post it. But the whole time, I feel like I'm going left. I feel like I'm going right. And I'm so focused on stability. I can't just lock in and push the weight. I think that was 10 reps. So I think 8 to 12 range for this exercise today. Not a bad call. Not a bad call at all. I know with my feet planted, me being locked in and braced properly, I've done 275 for 20 or more. So not too far off, just stopping at 10 to kind of do that on press day 2. Again, it's not bad, and I'm really focused on the pecs here, less so on every other part of the press, because I hit those. If you remember, I hit those in the first video. So those are already kind of semi-exhausted. They're recovered, of course. It's been Tuesday, Wednesday, today's Thursday. It's been over 48 hours, so they're going to be pretty recovered, but not all the way. But you're never going to be 100%. All right, 2 more sets, I think. $295, and then we will see how it feels. Decide if we go to 305, stay at 295. Or hell, might even have a 315 in me today. We'll find out after this set. And you guys are gonna, as you follow along, you guys are gonna hear me say things like that a lot. How do I feel? Where's it at today? I come in with an idea of what I want to do. Like it's 10:30 in the morning today. You know, my end of day workouts, I usually have a full days of food, have like a 30-minute nap somewhere in there. Good nutrition and recovery before that. If I get up at 4 in the morning, I have to pound down 200 grams of carbs, and they have to be quick digesting and use as much as I can while I'm in the gym in the morning. And then here today, hit my 200 grams of carbs or whatever to try and make sure I'm always ready. I'm switching to, for a pre-workout, to stay below 150 milligrams of caffeine. My old rule was 200, and now I'm trying to be below 150. I don't know if I'll ever get rid of caffeine altogether, but I like to minimize its use, because especially on the weekends, like tomorrow, I'm in Chicago, then I drive from Chicago to Davenport, then Davenport to Des Moines, then Des Moines to Davenport, then Davenport to home, so I'm going to be in a car for over 30 hours, and that's a lot of driving, and usually alone, so sleep. I don't want to doze off while I drive. I'll drink an energy drink or something like that. So during the week, when I don't need to use caffeine for anything, like I don't have the importance of trying to stay alive while driving, I tend not to use it as much and take the minimum I need for a workout. So basically today, I had the equivalent of an Americano, a small Americano, a little shot of espresso and water. And that's it. All right, let's get this 295. say doing these Larson presses, and that's what you call when you take your feet off the floor, really forces you to put a heavy emphasis on bracing with your lats and your upper back, making sure your hands are in the proper position. Everything's got to be perfect because you've already made the lift harder by taking your feet off the ground. Oh, please don't move for me. Don't move for me. I will move for you. And when that happens, like my upper back has a pump right now from the tension I'm having to force into it to maintain that stability. I went ahead and jumped to 315, not because I think 10 to 12 are possible. I do not think 10 to 12 are possible today, especially with how that 295 felt. I do, however, think that I can really grind for 8. I think that 8 will be there. And we're going to try for it. A little bit more rest then, since I know that I'm at the top end of this movement. For me, again, it's called a Larson's press. I encourage everyone to try it. You know, take your feet off the ground, hold them out. Try to maintain your stability, everything tight, and press like that without that leg drive. Again, makes that lift significantly more difficult. And, you know, and I've never been a bencher. You know, everyone always wants to talk about that. When I get into pro wrestling, I say, yeah, I was a world champion strongman. Oh, how much you bench? I don't know. I didn't bench, except as an accessory movement for strongman. Wasn't needed. It's all overhead press. Now, I do kind of regret that with knowing what I know about press now, as I got closer and closer to the end of my strongman career. I think bench has a vital role to play in my overhead press. However, just as an accessory, I think that I could have tweaked my workouts a little different back then to help, kind of like I do now. So I have my vertical press day, and then today's my horizontal press day. And so I have brought it together that way, and that has helped my press probably be the strongest it's ever been, and absolutely in love with that, because I want to be able to press anybody and everybody I can in the ring. And I don't do it like where they just jump and I hold them up. I get them to my chest and I press them. And I know to the common viewer, it's not that big of a difference, but Pops the Boy's pretty good. And I think that people are catching on now with the way that I'm built and everything, that they can see that there is a radical strength difference between me and the average pro wrestler on the independent scene. And that's what I want. That's my whole goal as a worker, is to be. I am not a 5-tool wrestler. I don't have every quality you want in that perfect pro wrestler. I am a gimmick. I am an attraction. I will come in. I will be that brick wall that's hard to move. I'll be that mountain of strength that throws people around. And that's what I want to do and how I want to perform. I enjoy it. I love that role. And pro wrestling is a variety show, right? So that's just me bringing that extra ingredient to make the perfect meal, and the perfect meal is the entire show. That's just my opinion on that and what I like to do and who I like to be in the pro wrestling world. And lifting like this helps that, and doing the moves the way I do them helps that. And I have to be this strong to do the moves the way that I do them, because like I said in my first press day video, I'm terrified of hurting somebody. I'm terrified of being dubbed unsafe. And so everything I do is to try and keep that worker as safe as possible and to make myself as strong as possible. So if that worker is not safe, if something goes wrong, I'm strong enough to fix it to where they don't get hurt. All right. Let's try to grind for 8. Let's see what we got today. Not today. Not today. I was shaking all over the place with that. 8 it is. Okay. 8 it is. 8 it is not. 7 it is. Still feel good. Would have liked 8, but that's what happens sometimes. Again, it's the second press day of the week. It is the second variation of bench we have done. Because if you watched my first press day, then you know I did close grip bench as a pre-exhaust for my overhead. And that definitely felt that there. Not too bad though. I think we're gonna come over here, stay out of everybody's way. And we'll just move the dumbbells to us. Take a little bit of a rest here. So this will be a lighter, higher rep. That's what I like to do with dumbbells, especially on incline, since we do our overhead on press day 1. My upper chest is already going to be pretty shot. So we'll do some lighter dumbbells, like I'll start at the 50. I believe I said that with my seated dumbbell overhead press on day 1, that I like to use the 50s as a nice gauge of where I'm at today. 50s are light enough that I know that I'm going to get good reps in, heavy enough to tell me if, maybe I'm only going to 70. Maybe I can go to the full 100, because that's the heaviest dumbbells I have here. It all just depends on how I'm feeling. It's not about the weight, it's about the intensity and the movement, and that strength will reflect as you peak towards the competition. Or it'll just translate week to week after a good few days of recovery. Like so Friday, right? Tomorrow I'll come in here tomorrow morning, I'll do my next day, and then Saturday, Sunday I will have completely off from the gym with a lot of drive time, so that will be mostly focused on eating carbs and sleeping after all of that. And then Monday night, after a day of eating, fully getting my rest back on track, I will go to the gym again. I should be recovered enough to hit that press day 1 again. All right, let's grab the 50s then. Again, so that was pretty smooth. Didn't count the reps, but I definitely think I'll start at 70 and may stay at 70. see how it feels. You'll notice I do those a little differently than most people. You know that, especially with this movement, I like to get that deep stretch, so I try to make the handles in line with right here, not up here, but right here. Pull back as tight as I can. Hold. Press through the deep part of the stretch. And again, you won't be able to go as heavy with that, but the movement's more difficult. So are you still getting stronger? Are you still improving? Yes. I can't even say, oh, well, I'd argue. Yeah, no, there's no argument. You are. And again, it's press day 2. I've already done my delts and triceps heavily on press day 1. I do not need to hammer them again with heavy weight. I'll overstress my body and something will tear, something will break, I will get injured. So I had to learn how to take normal exercises, tweak them just enough to where I could keep them light, but still get the work in. And I'm just going to be a broken record about that because it's very, very important. If you want to stay healthy and injury-free, that if you're checking all the boxes on your main movements and you're hitting the muscle groups the right way, not everything has to be maximum effort in the weight category. All right, 70s. Again, not really counting. I think that was 8 to 10. Going off a feeling. Really like where I felt there at the end. Put them down. 70s is a great weight for today. We're going to do them again. Really wish I could have get that leg day video up, because it's even simpler than my press days. You know, I do those double pause squats, and then I do the Bulgarian split squats, but I do them in a way where my knee and shin stay completely vertical. They don't go forward at all. And I isolate my glute hamstring tie-in. And I do that because when you're squatting really, really heavy and you're descending, it's that specific spot there that helps you stay torqued out, helps you maintain control of the descent, and then have balances on the ascension. So I isolated in the Bulgarian split squats on my first posterior chain day because it's so crucial and important. And I'm a big believer that if you can hit your major movements the way you want, when you do your accessory work is taking the little parts of your big movements, the little pieces, and making those little parts strong. Because if all your little parts are strong, then the movement's going to be strong. I'm a big believer in that, and so I use the Bulgarian split squat in that way for that day. Specifically, if I have other goals in mind, I will switch up how I do them, but right now my goal is strictly that, so I do them that way. And then hamstring curls is kind of the same thing, where I want to feel it in the hamstring, how I'm going to curl it, where am I going to place my feet, do I point my toes out, do I hold them straight forward? It all just depends on where I'm feeling it in my hamstrings and how I want to feel it. Everything you do has to have a purpose to guide towards making that next lift bigger. All right, 27 minutes in, 2 main movements down, and now we are going to our third movement. I think I can position this over here. So, if you notice on day one, both of the tricep movements were the beginning of the workout. They were horizontal, right? Close grip bench. Second tricep movement was rolling dumbbell extensions, tricep extensions, horizontal. On my horizontal press day, I do a vertical tricep accessory. The closest variation I've seen to this is called the dead press, and that's behind the neck, elbows forward, and you do a tricep extension from the top of your traps. I have not seen anyone do this lift. This is something that I do to help with my overhead, and I really get into my long head of my triceps, and I believe it has been crucial in developing my overhead press and my tricep strength, which is why you'll see me in the ring and I'll have somebody by the waistband and I'll get them here and you'll see my arms stall, and then I can extend them up. Even if they're 180 pounds, I can basically lock them out on my own in the one-handed gorilla press. And I'm going to give credit to this movement, so I call it the breast press because I've never seen anyone do it. I'm making it mine. And it's essentially just taking the barbell in the front rack position and doing an extension from there and ending in the lockout position at the top. So I'll keep my hands in close-ish, because I press out here. So this is close for me. And the overhead press, and how I like to isolate that one head of my tricep, and then I get my lean back and I pick my elbows up. And I've essentially taken my major presses, right? My upper chest and my delts are almost completely out of this lift. And it is truly a wide grip tricep extension. And the reason why I do that, again, the why I go wide is I'm a wider fella, so I put my hands out wide for the press. And when you have a human body in the ring and you want to pick them up, they're not a barbell. They're not perfectly balanced. They're not evenly across. I need to be able to control things out here, maintain stability of the movement without injuring myself, or again, my most important factor, without injuring them. So let's get a little weight on here. All right. So, again, coming to a dead stop at the bottom, but keeping the weight loaded on my tricep and taking it and extending through. So I'm taking a press movement, a compound movement, And I'm turning it into an isolation exercise that mimics the same motion of the compound movement. So if I'm ever going for a huge lift and I'm out of line, I'm out of track, something goes wrong, the elbow pops forward, something, I have trained my muscle group, my musculoskeletal system to be ready for that. I've strengthened myself in weaker positions so that when I'm in my strongest position, if something goes wrong, I am more likely to stay injury free. So there's a lot of ways to work out. And I believe I've said it before. And if I have, just get used to hearing me say it. I, in the wrestling world, am not a body guy. I am a powerhouse. I am a strength gimmick. And that gimmick happens to be very real. So when I come to the gym, my number one priority is not my appearance. It is my function. It is how are these muscle groups able to perform when I need them to, how I need them to stay injury free, and again, to make sure I don't hurt the other person as well. That is why I lift. That is my why. To be as strong as possible. And it just so happened to be that with the strength came a really thick body that looks powerful, because it is powerful. You work hard to build it. You know, I've earned this. And you will too. Every day you stay in here, I've been lifting for 16 years. You'll be able to get it just like I have, with consistency. And if you follow along, a lot quicker than I did, because I spent the better part of 10 years wasting my time being an idiot, not listening to anyone that knew more than me, because I was naturally strong. And so I went, well, clearly what I'm doing is working, so I don't need to listen to them. And it's like, and then I started getting injured all the time. Well, there you go. That's what you get for being young and dumb. So that's what's inspired these video series for me. Again, I'm a busy guy. You guys are busy. It's scary to go somewhere new, or maybe you've plateaued and it's scary to try something new. So I thought I'll make a completely uncut, unedited version of what it's like to be in the gym with me, because that's the comments on all my posts and stuff. It's, wow, you're so strong. Wow, look at the way you're built. Wow, blah, blah, blah. It's like, great. I really appreciate those words. They're very kind. I'm always going to be appreciative. I want everyone to have it, what they want, if they want it. And I thought I would sell the knowledge, and no matter the price you put on it, if I put the price too high, no one's going to want to buy it, even though it's worth it. If I put the price too low, no one's going to want to buy it because, oh, it's just cheap. Well, let's just put it out there. Let's just put it out there, and the people that want it will get it. And if they don't want it, they won't get it. And things like that, they don't just happen anymore. You know what I mean? The world's strongest men, the guys that you see doing the pro stuff, that do it as a full-time job, they don't just post their whole workouts out there. They post their main lifts for their views, their clicks. Look at how much I eat. Look at my 1 rep max. They don't post their whole workout, their sets, their rest times. They don't do anything like that. And that's because it's theirs. They make a 30-minute video for you to watch. It's short. This is going to be long. This is going to be arduous. It's going to be like, man, do I have to watch this whole thing? The goal is not for you to sit and watch. Turn it on while you're in the gym. Lift with me. That's the goal. Okay, 135 is going to be a good weight for today. At least one more set there. At least. Because again, this is the main tricep accessory. This is the one I want a little bit of weight on. I mean, 135 pounds going like this It's not easy. So I know that I'm doing pretty good here, and then I'll probably do some push downs, over and under, superset it like that, and that'll be the other tricep accessory, and that'll be it for pressing movements, any kind of push, and on pec deck flies, and we call it a day. So here we are, potentially on the last set of our first tricep accessory, our third movement of the day, 37 minutes and 22 seconds, and I've been talking a lot. So that's why I tell people it is 100% possible for you to get in and get out of the gym, get stronger, get better, and improve. And you do not have to be in here for 2.5 hours. When I was training strongman, I took really long rest times to the point that halfway through my workout, sometimes I'd eat a donut, like a jelly-filled donut, because I needed more carbs to finish my workout, especially as I got to the end of a peaking training cycle for my contest, because everything is just so stupid heavy, because you're trying to completely break your body down and make it go into that emergency mode so that when you recover, it overcompensates. And so you walk into the contest 110% of your normal strength, 115% of your best strength, because you want to, it's like a curve. Like here we are, destroying. 7 days of rest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's your contest day. And so I would need to eat in those last training sessions, because I would just be so exhausted. And that was when I was working. I had my beef business, and I had, I have 6 kids. I had 12-hour shifts at work as a CNA. And if any of you are in the medical field like that, CNAs are on their feet. If it's a 12-hour shift, you're on your feet for 12 hours. And moving. And still got to be a dad, still got to be a husband. And so I would just be pounding food as much as I could. And I never really ate meals. I would cook chicken wings. I would eat like 20 to 30 chicken wings a day, plus a gallon of milk. And then as my pre-workout meal, like 2 giant iced honey buns and everything. And then I would have more carbs at the gym. It was killer. All right, so that is definitely it for me. Killer. Again, I think I did more than 8. I think I might have even did 11 or 12 there. But I decided halfway through, this was for sure my last set. So I said, okay, let's just get some extra reps in then. And that is the way it went for me. I'm gonna get that, and got to find the next movement. My brain just died. Got those. And we're gonna do second tricep movement. That's right. Over here. I am not a believer for what I do in the ropes. My goal with this movement is to lose the science. I don't care about the shape of my triceps, right? Like, I think they're okay. Nothing spectacular. But they're movers, as you've seen. So this one, I just put on as much weight as I can, and I'm just cranking. I'm just going to crank. That's it. It's just about getting high reps to a point of exhaustion, get a killer pump in the triceps, and then move on. That's it. My form on that last exercise, the breast press, that's the one where I want to have that good form, or my close grip bench that I did on day one. That's the one I want to have form. This one is just, let's get blood in the area. Let's just kill them, and that's it. And we're gonna just start at 150 and go. Change grips. And that's it. Don't really count the reps. Go until it's like, oh my God, this hurts really bad. And then switch grips. Now I'll up the weight to 200 and try and do the same thing. That's it. 2 sets. Try to go for that 20 to 30, but I'm not. Brain fog today, man. I'm not counting today. You can tell by the way I feel. Still feel fine. Everything feels great. But I know that I'm getting the right amount of work in. But man, I'm usually a little more dialed in mentally. Today I am not. So we'll get a little bit of rest. Let that blood settle in, because God, it's starting to, whoa, you know. When a 3X is snugging up like this, it's, or you know what, I think this one might be a 2X regardless. Usually doesn't fit like this on the sleeves for me. I don't have very big arms. I think they're like 19 and a quarter flexed. So it's just, I've never really trained arms very much. As you see, I haven't even done biceps yet this week. That'll be tomorrow. God, I hate them. I hate training chest, and I hate training biceps. It's boring. I don't really care about it at all. I like shoulders, back, and legs. That's what I like to do. Maybe that's the strongman in me. But it is what it is. I will do biceps tomorrow. I'll do 2 curling movements plus rows and things like that. But I don't really have like an arm day. And triceps, I train like this because I need good, big, strong triceps for my press. That's it. So again, I lift my way for what I want. I don't recommend this style of lifting saying like, you're going to get so jacked from this. You're going to look like everyone in magazines. You're not. You're going to get strong. That's for sure. That's going to happen. You will get stronger. You will improve your muscular density. You will get more of that old 1970s style, like old Bill Kazmaier body type from lifting like this. You will get that. But you aren't going to get the biggest arms. I do a lot more chest now than I've ever done, which is going to be, 2 times bench press during the week with 2 variations. And then I'm going to do the pec deck fly 2 sets like I do this. And that's the most I've ever really done. ugly, 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 but filled with blood. Again, I'm not a detail guy. I'm not trying to make the perfect striations. I'm not trying to build that perfect look. I have a very large waist that, due to, like, you can kind of see even a little bit of ab, even if I lost my body fat down to, I don't know, let's see, I'd say I'm probably at like 20% right now. Let's say I drop down to 12. This will not change. You'll see more abdomen, but the size, the circumference, that's not going anywhere on me. I am not built to be pretty by any means. All right, we are going to go first set at 144. I like to set these on the furthest to the back setting you can. That is not set up for rear delts. So here, this one has 5 levels. I put it on level 5. And when I set in, I like to, because I don't go all the way back and I don't go all the way forward on these. And because I set it up like this, it forces me to maintain muscular tension in the full stretch, because I'll never be able to get my arms to go all the way back to set the weight down. And then it's on me to make sure that I go only far enough to maintain muscular tension during the contraction. Because you can go too far forward, and especially me, I get about here. I'm not really getting any more tension, and I've still probably got almost a foot in between my hands. And I squeeze in, my delts start to take over. I have to roll my arms forward. Well, if I'm doing that, am I training my pecs anymore? No. So why? Why add more weight to make it feel like I'm doing something? Why make the range of motion from top to bottom, all the way down, all the way up, to make it feel like I'm doing something, when my goal for this movement is maximum pectoral development? Just train the range of motion that fits your body the most for maximum pectoral development. That's it. Don't listen to those guys online. They're just haters. Their way is the best way. Only do it just like me. I'm not even going to tell you to do it just like me, because the way I do it is for me. But you can find it. I just always tell people, find, like for me, this is good. I'm getting the full stretch right here, and you see how far. That's me relaxed. I can't let my arms go back any further. And you see the distance from the stack to the bottom of the plate, right? I can't stretch any more than this. And so I'm going to get great development from this. I like to roll my elbows down, stick my chest out. Roll my elbows down to keep my delts out of it. Because when I go elbow up, I start wanting to take over with my shoulders as I get tired. So elbows down. Focusing completely on the back. Now, huge pump there. Very good pump. But again, the reason why I do these movements, 2 sets of 20 to 30, is kind of based on Mike Mentzer. And the reason why that is because there's only so much so much productive damage you can do. And for me, if I'm taking 2 sets to essentially failure, to where I know that maybe I have 2 or 3 more reps in there, maybe, that's productive damage. And if I go for it a 3rd time, if I go for it a 4th time, and now my rep count is cut in half, am I doing productive work? Or am I just hammering a bent nail? So that's why I'm a big believer in the 2 sets, trying to keep that 20 to 30 rep range. Anything less, what are you doing? That's not going to be for hypertrophy. Anything more, what are you doing? You're going to get a little hypertrophy from that, but you're going to start going into that over part where you're burning more, and it's not as effective. And again, 20 to 30 rep range is what's effective for me. And I recommend everyone at least try it, which is, again, why these videos exist. So here we are getting on to our last set, 53 minutes, 38 seconds. And I'm taking some longer rest times today, just due to overall fatigue. Tomorrow there'll be some longer rest times too. And I'm in here for 53 minutes, 48 seconds now. And we're almost done. Last set coming up, and then I'm going home. I'm done. And you can't tell me I didn't get better today. I know I did. You don't have to be in here for 2 hours. It's so important for people to understand that we could change the fitness industry together if people would just use their brains. Practical application, come in and logic your way intensely through your workout. Then you'd realize that you can improve with a lot of effort in a little bit of time. So instead of putting a lot of effort into a lot of time, making it feel like you're doing triple the amount of work and only getting the single amount of results, you do a lot of effort in a little bit at a time, and you get the results that reflect the amount of work you put in. Coming in here for 3 hours, if you're not on loads of gear and doing all this stuff and not taking time to recover and everything like that, just training 6 times a week, if you're not on loads of gear or taking HGH or whatever it is that people do, then you are essentially overtraining. You're not recovering. You're not producing what you could be if you just dialed it back to reality, because you're a human and not a superhuman, and just put in intense work in a small amount of time to get great results. Well, what I think are great results. I'm a little biased since we're talking about me and my results. All right. That's all, folks. Tomorrow, we do a little more legs, a little more back, and biceps and abs, blah, blah, blah.